Share
I don't see it live.
And full screen. Okay. And What One Up Rejects just went live. As I said before, welcome to the side of my head.
Double audio.
Does anyone have chat up? So that's something we should figure out next time is like, who's going to watch chat? And I will watch chat. Let me just move my iPad. And oh my God, I have way too much shit going on here. Fuck.
Wait, I'm getting double audio. I don't know about you guys.
I am not getting double audio.
I'm not getting double audio.
Hey Ernesto, let me hang on one sec.
Hold on. It may be me. It's me.
Okay. I'm checking the sound. Oh my God, I have way too much shit going on here. I'm just checking the sound here on our stream.
Wait, I'm getting double audio.
Okay. All right. We sound good. Chat, let us know if we're fucked.
I have the chat window open, so.
All right, cool. So, welcome to One Up Rejects Test Episode 2. As you all can tell, we're total amateurs, and we're still getting our shit together in regards to the show. Brought to you not by Mountain Dew.
Maybe.
So, yeah. Yet. But I'm diabetic, so I can't drink Gamer Fuel, so there you go. We are the night after the Game Awards show. So the way we're going to do this is we're going to introduce everybody real quick. Then we're going to do kind of a round robin on several Game Awards topics. And then at the end, we'll do some kind of car crash of PSX and Whatcha Playin. So also, we're going to stop just a bit before the PSX keynote.
Yeah.
Because Ernesto wants to watch it. So there you go. And actually, I'm kind of curious too. So anyway, I'm Blaine. I'm me. I'm the one that always wears the bitchin' N7 jacket. And let's go in alphabetical order. Anthony.
Hey, it's Anthony. I don't know what you want me to say about myself now.
Great, Ernesto.
Last week.
I'm me as well. I'm Ernesto.
All right, Mike. Are you Mike?
I am Mike. I'm Mike Torres, ex-recovering video game blogger, and I work retail, which is hell. And there you go.
What the hell is ex?
Because I'm a recovering retail
I'm
employee.
recovering. That I hope to soon be. Dear God, please.
Actually, Mike, you do win the award for the best quality mic. Well, wow.
Thank
Wait
you.
a minute. Wait, so Mike has the best mic. That's fucked up. All right, let's move on. All right. So we can all agree that the Game Awards did happen last night.
They did.
So in terms of awards presentation, we'll go around the table, so to speak, and we'll start, again, we'll do alphabetical order. So we'll go Anthony, Blaine, Ernesto, and Mike. Is there just four of us? Wow. That's fucked up.
Cool. So I actually just was watching sections of it today, just because I didn't even catch it last night. I had a really busy night. So I care almost nothing about the awards themselves. I don't know if hopefully that's a valid enough opinion to where I didn't really give a crap about watching anything. I looked up a few of the winners. I watched all the trailers, and that was all I really wanted to get out of it.
Okay, yeah, and actually, I am your brother in being soulless. And not the Dragon Age kind, but the actual soulless. Because yeah, I went, okay, so I'll try to be quick about this. I did a whole blog post about this on Monday. I don't give a fuck about the awards. Part of that is just not caring about awards, but two was like looking down the list of nominees. It was like, here's all the games that everyone but you enjoyed this year, and all the games that everyone but you played this year. And we're like, with the exception of Horizon Zero Dawn, which is nominated in like every category. I don't even know if it won anything or not, but
It did.
yeah. See, and so the one game that was in every category that I played and loved didn't get anything. So anyway, but just yeah, in terms of the overall presentation, like, I thought it was pretty shit. Like, if they're going to be an award show, I want to see, and Julio and I were talking a little bit about this today. I want to see actual stuff from the nominees. Like, here's what the game looks like. And
Is this year 3 or 2? Isn't it 3?
This is year 3 of Keeley Solo.
Yeah. Before that, it
And-
was powered by Dew and all that crap.
Yeah,
Yeah,
with
Spike
the
Lee.
half-naked
That's enough.
cheerleaders.
That's enough time to iron some of this crap out, though.
Well, I think a lot of that was in order to get everyone that they got, they had to throw a bone, and they had to pack in too much stuff. I think the format is bursting at the seams, and the only reason I show up is to see trailers. I don't care who wins. I don't. I want to see trailers. I saw Metro Exodus, and then like everything else, and we'll actually get into the trailers in a little bit. But yeah, anyway, I didn't like almost anything about the show, and so now I will throw it over to Ernesto.
I liked most of it. I mean, I didn't have any expectations for it, right? I was just enjoying the show, but also this is personally, I tend to like these awards kind of things. I watch the Oscars and sometimes the Grammys, but not always. It's just I just like it to make an event of it. The wife and I, we get takeout food and we just watch the show. It has gotten better over the years, but incrementally so. And this year was the best it's ever been. It doesn't necessarily mean it was good, but it was enjoyable. So I'll give it that. Playing from the previous, sometimes for the winners.
Ernesto, we're losing you a
Back
bit.
from a commercial break, and EXO and so would win an award, and that would bother me because it's an awards show, you know.
Okay. We missed part of that. Like your audio was getting a little choppy there, but I think we got the gist. Mike, what say you?
I thought it was a decent show. It was much better than the past several years. I'm not a big fan of Jeff Keighley and his pandering with Schick and everything else, but overall, I think it was a decent show. Surprise-wise, I wasn't really expecting anything. There was perhaps 2 or 3 things that I actually enjoyed from the actual show, but besides that, like you said, I really watched simply for the trailers. If they could just make a short 45-minute show packed with trailers, I would be much more pleased by that.
Isn't that just an E3 press conference?
Pretty much. And I'm fine with that. I mean, I understand that they're trying to celebrate gaming culture, but here's the thing. I don't really give a shit about Dr. Demento or whoever the hell the trending gamer is. Half of these people I don't know. I'm not a 15-year-old with ADD. Okay, so I don't know what's going on with any of this stuff. I am close to 40. I just care about just show me good games. It's great that some of these teams, they have an outlet where they can go and receive an award and some recognition from their peers, but it just doesn't feel genuine enough yet to me.
So here's an interesting thing. With movies, a lot of times, if you're seeing the nominees, even if you haven't seen a movie, you have a pretty darn good idea of just the gist of it in most cases, or what it's about, or why it's even up there. But with a game, is it the same? Like Blaine was mentioning, you get some of these indie games, and if you haven't played it yourself, you don't have any clue why it would even appeal to anybody, and there's no vehicle within the award show that would really point out like this is why this game is here.
Oh, I agree with you completely. I mean, there's tons of games that they announced, like nominees, that I've never heard of these games before ever in my entire life. And that's not saying that they're bad games. It's just it doesn't speak to me, and that's okay. And they're not giving us any idea of why this game is special. You're literally showing a 2-second to 5-second clip of footage of the game and naming a nominee. That's it.
Yeah. And a lot of times, not even that. Like the ones that really drive me crazy are, oh, hey, we're off to the side. We're out on this little like platform in the middle of the audience with this random person. And hey, congrats on winning this award. Oh, by the way, this is the category and this is the winner. good day, sir. Now let's cut to the Game Awards orchestra.
Exactly.
And like with those, I'm like, okay. And for me, the one thing I want from this is to give the industry a little bit of legitimacy. And the problem is that I think that the format detracts from that because it's too packed. And they're doing stuff like legitimate categories kind of getting, underrepresented by the crappy presentations I just mentioned, but also stupid categories like trending gamer. I mean, this like, and actually every year there's one person I've heard of and 4 people I haven't. And then stuff too, where like I was being funny last night when they were like best esports player, and I was being funny, and I was like, shouldn't the best esports player be the one that won esports?
Right.
It's true.
No, why make that award at all? Like, there's a lot of people who don't care about that, and it excludes that audience.
Well, I would say it's the other way around. It includes the like it includes Korea and wherever else they care about esports.
Well, it shouldn't even be worded that way. I mean, if you word it as something like most dominant, right? And then you could just rattle off like, hey, this person, whatever, like they have most dominant athlete. So if somebody wins a Grand Slam, you could make an argument for a tennis player, right? And this would be the same thing, like a MOBA versus a one-on-one fighting game. Those are like 2 completely different sports. So if you're saying the best player, you almost need to make a case by just saying like, oh, this is the first player that has swept like the Capcom Cup, like every single weekend or something like that, and that's why they're up or whatever the case may be. It's communicating a bit more as to why the hell we should care. And if that takes like take for instance on some of these games, if I'm voting for a game, what if it was as simple as you ask everybody, why are you voting for this game? Because you have the ballots go out, right? So somebody could say, like, for Game of the Year for Zelda, they could say, I voted because I really like the freeform physics engine. And then if you're the person throwing this award ceremony, then you could basically take all these responses and just see, oh, well, hell, this came up in every one of the responses. We should use that in maybe a minute lead up saying why this game is up for Game of the Year. And sort of pointing out like these are the highest points and this is why people feel these games should be here and why even if you haven't heard of them, you should seek them out after this show is done.
Yeah, I think you're right. I just feel that most of the time, and this is just maybe I'm wrong, this is my general feeling, this is a popularity contest and not just about what's popular, but also who you know in the industry, what is the buzz indie game that is saying something socially about insert whatever at the point, And of course, the most popular games. Hell, I'm surprised Call of Duty wasn't up there.
Oh, that's right. It wasn't.
Well,
I'm shocked by that.
I mean, the one thing I will say about the Game of the Year nominees is that I felt like each of them was a legitimate nomination, just either based on what I've played or what I've heard from people that have played. Where Mario, everyone that I know that's played it says, "Oh my god, it's great." Zelda, same thing. Horizon Zero Dawn, I absolutely adored. I can't even remember what else. Was Hellblade? I can't remember what the other nominees were.
Isn't it PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds?
That was the only one that didn't deserve to be there, in my opinion.
Well, but here's the thing. Again, it goes back to everyone that I know that's played it. Like Danny O'Dwyer was like stumping for it hard on Twitter. Like he went overboard with it, and
I'll tell you, I've tried it. I don't get it. It's a very glitchy game. It's not a complete product, and it pisses me off that literally in a week, the developers and publishers have the balls to sell a $60 product that's still in early access, brand new for Xbox One.
No, my issue with
I'm
that
not
is
even going to get into that. But it is an early access game. I feel that
they're charging $60 on Xbox One.
Yeah, it's coming to Xbox. Yeah, they're charging $60 for it.
I didn't know that. My issue is that the game is not done. So a game that is not done should not be up for nomination because what's going to happen next year? They're going to nominate it again because next year is going to be done. You don't get two. You don't get two tries at it.
It actually leaves early access before this month is over. So I think it's one of those things where like,
but it would be after the nomination.
Right. Oh, I'm with you. I know exactly what you're saying, but I think that maybe they brokered a deal where they're like, look, we're getting a lot of pressure to give you Game of the Year nomination, but we can't because your fucking game isn't done. And then, Player Unknown was like, oh, well, here. And then, hits whatever button to commit to a date. But
But
anyway,
that no matter what I feel, if we ignore that whole early access aspect, that's a game that if you had like that minute lead up, you could say things like, hey, this introduced the whole concept of if you die, you don't have to stay in the game, and you immediately jump to another game and stuff like that. Because I think there are valid gameplay introductions in there that are the reason why people gravitated towards it. But communicating that out is more effective and does make it seem a little bit more worthy. But I completely understand the qualms over it being so glitchy and still sort of pre-access.
Yeah, no, my issue is not on the quality of the game. I'm sure it's a great game. It's quite famous for a reason. It's not because it's a bad game. It's just it's not done yet.
Yeah, well, and ultimately, like the whole thing comes, for me, went off the rails when my beloved Divinity Original Sin 2, the highest rated on Metacritic non-Nintendo game this year. And like I told Jay, the Nintendo games, you have to subtract 20 from each of their Metacritic scores because of the nostalgia penalty. So therefore, Divinity Original Sin 2 is actually the best game this year. All right, we're done.
I was actually thinking, man, how hard is this for Blaine? Because like you're in your own space where it's the PC stuff, right? But they like these kind of awards don't pay attention to that. And I do agree that Divinity should have been there. And I haven't played much of it, but what little I have played has been amazing so far.
Well, I think it comes down to the difference between the Game Awards and the Oscars is, and don't get me wrong, I'm not going to sit here and say fuck the Oscars.
The Oscars.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I'm not going to do that. I have criticisms of the Oscars, but I think for the most part, in terms of their Best Picture nominees, they do a pretty good job, and most of them are not Transformers or. And like hell, I even get mad when they ignore my beloved science fiction films, But for the most part, they do a pretty good job of like, getting the actual best pictures instead of most popular. And I think the Game Awards looks at, or the people that they consult to vote on that. Well, the people that generate the nominees, which is like a panel of whoever, look at what's most popular rather than what's actually best. And part of the problem too is that there are more games released each year than there are films. And I think that what they need to do is actually broaden the pool of people that they consult so that they're actually getting a better representation of the cross section of game players. And especially, and like I'll say too, if they have actual, and I think they do have people that work in games on this panel, and ask anyone that actually works in game development, they don't have fucking time to play a lot of these games. And so why the hell are they voting on it? I mean, it's like when they do the coaches poll in college football. It's a totally fucking stupid thing. But anyway,
I'll tell you what though, Blaine, I would be incredibly curious to see if what the results would be if they checked the feedback of different age groups as well. Like, okay, from 19 to 27, 28 years old, this is what's popular. From that age to 39, 40, this is what they're playing. I'm very curious to see what the results of that would be.
Okay. Now, is that in regards to like what gets the best game of the year nominee?
Yeah, absolutely. And not just that, but also for nominations for certain games as well. I mean, let's face it, there's tons of games that pretty much are only European games or played in Korea that there's still a lot of fan bases still in the US that play these games. And I'm just curious, none of their voices are put into this,
Yeah.
It's just really interesting.
It is. I also hate other people's opinions.
Okay.
Well, and like, like the People's Choice Awards, I'm like, dear God, like, why would you ask regular people what they think?
Yeah, don't do that.
That's what's the best chicken restaurant? Oh, KFC.
Fuck
right,
you.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, and actually, here's where KFC lost my vote is when they got rid of Chicken Littles like years and years ago. Those were so good. and they ripped them away from me. And God, they should have iterated on Chicken Littles. And not to be all beastcast about it, talking about food and shit, but like, you know, and I love beastcast. All respect to those guys. They just talk about food too much. And I do enjoy the podcast for the 45 minutes they're talking about games. But if they iterated on Chicken Littles and had like, you know, regular bland flavor, but then like, you know, barbecue, and then like buffalo. Oh my God, buffalo chicken littles. Jesus Christ, what a missed opportunity. Put some blue cheese on. Oh my God. Anyways,
my point about the KFC was that I've seen these articles online about popular places to eat, and it's like fast food places, or it's not like it's what people gravitate to, but it's not necessarily the good stuff, you know. So yeah, it's just I don't know. It's a weird balance to try to get these awards right.
oh sure. I mean, and it's an impossible task. Ultimately, you're going to end up pissing off a large group of people no matter what you do. And in this case, it's nice and safe.
Well, and that's why when I was trying to make suggestions, it was more so on the content and how it's presented, because nominations you're never going to get a consensus on. You don't get that with movies. I mean, hell, I've been boycotting the Oscars ever since Face Off wasn't nominated for Best Picture. Aside from that, I mean, you just got to improve the presentation, make it a worthwhile show to watch, and people will forgive if their favorite game doesn't win a lot more easily.
I almost flipped the table.
I do want to say that at least some of the awards, like I was really happy with, for example, best soundtrack, Nier Automata. That soundtrack is just amazing, and it's not like a super popular game. It's not a Madden, right? And the fact that it won, like that felt good. Also, best art direction with Cuphead, and yeah, there were a couple of awards there that I was happy with. That it showed that the jurors were like regular gamers, and they had people from all over, like IGN, GameSpot. They also had YouTubers in there. They had like EC Allies in there. So it made for some very actually accurate nominations, but not probably the best nominations for everybody. That's what I'm trying to say.
I guess I'm possibly a cynical fuck, but
No.
when you say GameStop or GameSpot and IGN and whatever sites, I don't give a fuck what they think. I really don't. I play what I like, not what their marketing department is being thrown money to advertise. You know, I'm glad that Nier Automata won because simply that soundtrack is phenomenal. Same thing with the original, but I really don't give a shit about their opinion. I just really don't.
Yeah, I mean, I think that as gaming sites in general, and like, God, this is a whole other can of worms, but gaming sites in general are in a weird transitional state. And I mean, there are a handful of pretty smart people at GameSpot. There are some that aren't, and there are eternal questions about the separation between editorial and advertising. And GameSpot itself has gotten in trouble.
Oh yeah.
Ask Jeff Gerstmann.
Exactly, I remember that.
But anyway, if you guys don't mind, let's move on. Unless anybody has a final thing to say about this particular topic.
Fuck the Oscars.
Well, we'll get to that in a minute. So, next up,
Let's to wrap up that section with a nice bow.
And no, we are going to come back to fuck the Oscars, but in terms of the reveals, we had a pretty mixed bag. And Anthony, what was your favorite? What stood out to you in the reveals?
So, am I weird in that nothing was even really surprising? I mean, I didn't really. The most surprising part was the random Zelda DLC, which I still didn't really understand what the hell it was about, aside from having a motorcycle. But
what else do you need?
From the trailer, the reason it seemed interesting to me personally is because the first DLC I didn't pay much attention to. It was like more of a challenge-based thing. This one I couldn't figure out if they were going for like extreme challenge, if it was going to have more story, like around the four Guardians or what. But just because I wasn't expecting that at all. Everything else, the only other one that stood out, and now I'm blanking on the name. What's the one from the Firewatch people?
I don't care. Metro
Oh,
Exodus.
Gods,
Among the Gods.
Valley of the Gods.
The animation in that and
Wait.
just like, the whole feeling.
Delhi of the Gods.
Valley of the Gods.
Oh, not Delhi of the Gods. I got
No,
really.
not Delhi. I wish there was a Delhi of the Gods. I'm there, man.
I got to stop thinking about food. I'm sorry, Tony. Go ahead.
So that one was one that because I had never seen before. It looked fascinating, but I never even played Firewatch and really didn't care about that game. So will I actually be excited when it comes out? Probably not. Was it an interesting trailer that I knew nothing about going into? Yes.
Definitely.
So for me, I'm super predictable here. What am I going to say?
Metro.
Yeah. Okay. So and here's what's interesting. I'm even gonna I'm gonna cop to this, and I'm gonna say that the Metro reveal wasn't spectacular, but also the game's like a year away. My enjoyment of that trailer was informed heavily by having read the books and also
because
liking the
what they showed in there. What was different than the two games that are already available?
It was not in a fucking Metro. Come on, man.
Places with crumbled buildings in the first two games.
Briefly, and like the first two games, you spent almost your entire time in the Metro. This one, like the third book, there's like most of the time spent above ground, which in the context of the first two books, the first two games, is scary as hell. And there's a brief mission in the very beginning of the first game where you actually go to the surface, and it's awful. Like, I mean, it's a cool part of the game. It's just scary as hell.
I remember spending quite a bit of time above ground because I had to keep changing the filter on my mask.
Well, you also drank a lot back then.
Maybe I shouldn't have been changing those filters.
Yeah, there you go. Or you should have changed the filters faster. So anyway, there was nothing about the Metro Exodus reveal that was like, oh my God. It's just, I personally, because of my own experience, was like, oh my God. But I understand why no one else had that reaction. The end. Ernesto.
Death Stranding. I was hoping for gameplay. I knew I wasn't gonna see anything, and then I was hoping for a release window year. At least put like 2019 or something in there. But we got nothing. We got yet another piece of the puzzle. As I suspected, he later tweeted out, Kojima, I mean, to watch the other two trailers. So apparently he's telling people on Twitter, you got to synchronize the three trailers now to get the full picture. I'm like, dude, just tell me what this is. However, those 8 minutes, I was like, I don't know what I'm seeing, but I love this.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, with Death Stranding, the first like third of that, I was like, whoa, this is actually kind of cool. And then all of a sudden it was an acid trip. And I was like, okay, we're back to the babies in weird places shit.
The baby in the throat with the thumbs up? What the hell?
Well, it's like he swallowed a baby and it's stuck. You know, I don't know. I don't know. Like Jay and I were kind of going back and forth on this because I was like, oh, more abstract nonsense. Get the fuck out of here. But you know, it's visually striking, and like I said, the first part where it's like, oh, we're on like Mars, and they're looking at shit. I'm like, yes, I can play this game. And then there's black shit, and then an angry god, and then a swallowed baby.
So
yeah,
that was because the first couple minutes showed a semblance of something that could become a game, like the whole like, okay, we can't see the enemy, or we can see footprints, and you have
we started to see game elements with the sensor and everything too. Yeah.
So hey guys. No, I'll tell you what. Let's come back to Death Stranding in just a minute. Let's let Mike say his piece because Death Stranding, I think, deserves more discussion time. Is that okay? All right, Mike.
Yeah.
I'll talk more about Death Stranding in the next part, but I was impressed by that. I will say that. But honestly, for me, the standouts when it came to actual announcements was the new project from the astronauts, the guys behind.
Painkiller and
Vanishing. Exactly. Yeah, those guys. The game looked beautiful. Those guys make really good shooters. It's nice to see them actually taking what they learned from narrative design with The Vanishing of Ethan Carter and marrying that with
Mike.
what looks to be a really cool shooter.
Is that the Bulletstorm guys?
Yeah.
Yeah, those are the Bulletstorm guys. Yeah.
Bulletstorm is one of the most underrated games ever.
It really is. And so I'm really excited for that. And my Death Stranding, of course, but I'll talk about that later. But I was shocked that, well, not shocked, but pleasantly surprised that Bayonetta is going to be continuing as a series.
Yes.
Thanks to Nintendo. I did not own a Wii U, so I just recently bought a Switch. I'm loving that device. I am really pleased that I'm going to be able to buy Bayonetta 1 and 2, and 3 is coming out when, I don't know, but it's nice to see that Platinum Games is getting more work, and we're going to see another Bayonetta, because I love action-adventure games like that. And that's pretty much
And
it.
I'd forgotten about that shooter, and I forget what it was called. What was it like?
Witchfinder?
Oh, yeah. I do remember that one now.
Yeah, that was an amazing. That one was one that I forgot about, but yeah, that was incredible looking.
Yeah. But that was it. That was really all that appealed to me from the entire show.
All right, so
my biggest surprise was for me personally, the Zelda DLC, because I've been waiting for it, and it's already like December. It was December 7th, like we were well into December. I thought they would eventually say, "Hey guys, we're gonna delay this into 2018." So for that to be revealed and then tell me, "Oh, you can play it tonight," I jump out of the couch. I freak out. I was so happy. But it's a personal thing because I really wanted to go back to that world, and I had done everything, like all the shrines, not the car seats because fuck that, but all the side quests and everything. So I was just happy to get more game of Zelda that night. Not because it was like an amazing announcement, but because it meant something for me.
You know what was actually my favorite? It wasn't even a reveal, but my favorite part of the entire show. Stop breathing into your mic. Was the Bethesda "fuck EA" ad. Like that had me rolling.
Oh, that was so good. Yeah.
I was laughing.
The single players, yes.
Yeah, I was laughing. That I mean, again, like I love and hate Bethesda at times. Usually love them more than hate them, but
same here.
You know, but like shit like that is what makes them great. Is just like they're opportunistic and they're funny as hell. But anyway, are we ready to talk Death Stranding? Or does anyone else have something else they want to say?
No.
Okay, so I have the last Kojima game I played through was maybe in the 80s, the original Metal Gear, and I haven't played through one since. So I don't have much in this conversation. But Ernesto, you played a few of the Metal Gear Solid.
Play through MGS, the first one.
What?
So he's gonna be watching my playthrough.
No, I watched my roommate Adam play through Metal Gear Solid, and then in college, Tony, I don't think you moved in yet, but maybe it was you. I don't know. Somebody played through a hefty chunk of Metal Gear Solid 2 in front of me. I remember pulling bong hits and looking up and going, "What's with the fucking telekinetic vampires?" Like, you know.
I think that was probably me. It depends on what year it came out, but I think that was.
Well, you and I were working together at Babbage's when the first reveal trailer was shown. I remember you brought it over to my apartment on your laptop, and we were like, "Whoa!" But it came out after both of us had left.
Yeah, because that was like one of those where they show the trailer and it comes out 2 years later.
Yeah. Yep, the early 2000s, baby. So anyway, you guys have all played more Metal Gear than me, and I know actually Tony, I remember talking about it quite a bit on our old podcast. And then Ernesto, I know you've got at least a passing familiarity with the Metal Gear series.
Just a little bit.
A little bit, right?
Chisano. Un poquito.
Scratchy.
Yeah. Mike, what about you? I know you don't finish games, but
Unless they say Assassin's Creed on the cover.
Unless they say Assassin's Creed on the cover, yeah. That's the running joke. I actually, the last Metal Gear game I actually played and beat was the third one, and that's it.
Hey, Mark, how's it going? Sorry, he's in the chat. So, and Mark's played a little bit of Metal Gear 2, or Metal Gear also. So anyway, Death Stranding. When I look at that, I God, CD Projekt Red showed anything cyberpunk at that show, I would have been shitting myself. Okay, even if it wasn't gameplay. because I'm like, I know what these guys are like. I know the kind of game they can make. I'm therefore excited. So
that is
with
the same reason why I'm excited about Death Stranding.
that's kind of the lens I'm looking through. So with last night's trailer, and then there's the previous two, I think. What do you guys think of this is?
So I'm trying to watch these trailers, and I'm going off like with my knowledge of how Kojima works, and I know he likes to like present his story in little snippets, and then when you see the full game, you think back on the trailer and you're like, oh, there we go. But Death Stranding it's like he's off the rails, like he has nobody holding him back. So I don't even know what to expect this time. My theory so far is that there's two planes. The plane of whatever these creatures are who don't exist in our dimension, but feed from it, and then the real world. And I just don't know how the babies come into play, but it seems like they can detect this otherworldly being or something. I don't know what's going on, but that's as much as I can get.
Maybe I'm putting this together. So I don't know if anybody else picked up on this. At the very end of the trailer, that music kicks in, and all I can think is Stranger Things.
All right, let me just say something real quick. All right, so okay,
well,
go, Tony, go.
So the whole thing that he's saying about like two different worlds, I'm like, is this really like that big a play? I mean, I could almost see like that similar type of thing, and I never like to liken two things that are so disparate, like a TV show that just happens to come out recently. But maybe, but how does, I don't know, Kojima, I don't think he gets the benefit of the doubt from me at all anymore, and that's just personally. Once the end of MGS2 happened, MGS3, the only reason I played it is because I kept on hearing it went back to, this is just solid gameplay. And his storytelling, just after the end of MGS2, 3 was sort of an exception because it was more down to earth. 4, I played maybe an hour, 2 hours, got bored. Never gave 5 a chance. I almost feel like he has gotten to the point where nobody says no to him.
Yeah,
and that has gotten him to where his stories, people love them because they're incoherent, but that's also why I hate them. And if everybody takes a step back, we can just say, yes, this makes no sense whatsoever.
Was there a telekinetic vampire in 2, or was I just really high? There is?
You were high, and there was a telekinetic vampire.
All right, Mike, go.
All right, so I saw a lot of things in that trailer that I liked, that intrigued me a lot. But one of the things that, like Tony just said about, Stranger Things, that I thought of, there are a lot of Lovecraftian cosmic influences in that trailer.
Lovecraftian.
Yes, and when I saw like there's this unseen horror, just some of the creature designs I saw and stuff that you don't see, and people just losing their fucking mind. They'd rather stab themselves to just be taken away by whatever the hell this thing is. That was when I was like, I'm interested in this. I want to know more. Kojima is literally off his rocker most of the time, but I'm cool with that as long as, he's got a lot of influences around him. He's got Del Toro, and he's got Ito, which is known also to be inspired by Lovecraft and cosmic horror.
Ito?
And because of that, I'm interested in it.
That being at the end, the giant being pulling the strings like a puppeteer.
Yeah.
That was like a Lovecraftian creature.
That was some old god shit. It reminded me a little bit of the Dunwich horror, just certain aspects of it. And I was like, I don't know where this is going. It's a mix of sci-fi and Lovecraft, and it reminded me a little bit of The Mist. And I was just like, this is really, really interesting. I have no idea what the hell's going on, but I'm interested. And I guess
so interested. Yeah.
Are you guys at all concerned about the whole fixation on Norman Reedus?
What's Kojima? That's his thing.
Well,
I think he's doing it out of spite. Like, he had this project with him. Kojima shut him down, so now he's like, "Hey, look who I got! My buddy, remember? Fuck you, Konami." That's kind of, it seems to be the theme.
So, Mike, you mentioned Ito. What is that? What is that?
Jiro Ito. He is a manga artist and writer, and he's drawn and written a lot of horror manga, and it's very heavily influenced by Lovecraft's work, and it's some really dark stuff. If you get a chance, find some online. A lot of it you can find it. It's free. He's done Spirals and a couple of other ones that I read that were just. It's basically about the unknown, and it's really just makes you go, wow, humans are very tiny in this gigantic universe which we don't understand, and there's malevolent forces beyond it that are controlling things. And I dig that.
Mike just like brought up a really important clue to what this whole thing is, because I had forgotten about the Ito thing like completely, but it totally makes sense.
He and Del Toro were helping him work on creature designs and different things for Silent Hills that was canceled, and that just makes me think. I wonder if he has any influence in this as well.
Yeah, definitely. His
All
work
right.
is like really disturbing, but really good.
Like the Japanese Giger.
So based on how off the wall these trailers are, what's your guess on release?
Oh fuck,
I'm
2019.
gonna say
I'm
2019.
2019, yeah, 2019 at most, at earliest.
Is Sony funding the project?
Yes, they are.
Okay.
Yes.
Is it Fox Engine?
No, this is Decima Engine, and
this is the engine from Horizon.
Yeah.
Oh.
And this is actually their own additions to that engine, because they set up an office with them to they're just basically sharing code back and forth in different engine optimizations and different things they want to add.
And so Konami's got this amazing Fox engine that they're not going to do anything with, and that.
Hey, there's what is it? Metal Gear Survive. If you're interested in that shit.
Nope.
So that's the thing. I'm thinking why development won't take that long, because the reason why Metal Gear Solid 5 took so long was because of developing that engine. And that's why when Kojima got hired in Sony, he's like, I'm just gonna look for an engine, and they made him do a tour around all the Sony studios, and he decided on the Horizon engine. So it'll still take a long time, but it won't be as long as like the 6 years Metal Gear 5 took.
I don't think that. I think that if I'm gonna look at why it's gonna take a long time, I would compare Kojima to the Polyphony Digital team.
Tony, you read my mind. Oh my God, you read my mind. Go ahead.
I mean, they're perfectionists, but it's gonna go on until somebody says we will stop writing you checks in the next 3 months. Otherwise, you're not gonna finish this damn game.
But this card doesn't have the right sheen.
No, what's the dude's name? The Polyphony Digital guy. God, he's like the worst.
Starts with a K. I forgot his name.
Oh, Yamauchi. Yamauchi.
Yeah, that guy.
So, do we have anything else to say about Death Stranding, or are we clear to move on to the next thing?
I'm good.
I'm just gonna say that as much as I love Kojima and you guys know how I am with Metal Gear, it would be nice to watch a trailer where I don't have to wait a couple weeks for somebody to make an analysis on YouTube, so I can get a better sense of it. I would really appreciate something I can understand. I'm still excited though, and that's.
Yeah. So actually, I think Mark makes the best observation of anyone on this when he says, "Baby equals Ziploc football." I think that's an excellent point. I have no idea what it means, but I think that's a great point.
Like nuclear football?
I have no idea. So, moving on. Personalities at the Game Awards. So, presenters, talking people. And I think as a group, we built a pretty solid consensus that if Aisha Tyler had shared whatever she took with the fuck you guy.
I love that fuck you guy.
I didn't care for him.
The best part about the fuck you guy was Keeley. Like Jeff, because at first Keeley was
Keeley losing the reins.
Well, at first Keeley was like, and then like his eyes started to like get a little bit narrower, and I was like, he's having fantasies about choking this motherfucker out.
Keeley was like looking for that button under the table, like to call security, like get this dude out of here. He's ruining my show.
Yeah, he was like, this motherfucker has gone rogue. Oh shit.
So
he is way off script, and I loved
well,
it.
and I'll tell you what, if I'm Andrew Wilson, who I loathe, I'm watching this and I'm going, oh fuck, we already have enough bad press. Like this is the way. But my favorite part is the guy even started addressing that, where he was like,
Yeah,
like sometimes great publishers do stupid fucking things, and I'm like, oh my god, like
yeah, like EA, and he goes, they're supporting me, but fuck them too. I was like, this guy, he is fucking killing it tonight. He just didn't care.
And it was, and what sucks is like that was a moment where the Game Awards started to carve out an identity, where like you won't see that on any other award show.
No,
I don't know if that's good or bad.
The bad thing about all that is that whole spectacle took the wind out of the actual game he was showing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, I was watching that trailer, I'm like, this is interesting, but with all that in my mind right now, I'm not really paying attention to this.
Well, and what's funny is like that exact game was like the lone thing at the EA E3 press conference where people were like, oh, positive buzz. And then, so he took the one fucking good thing from E3 for EA and like basically wiped his ass with it. I mean, it's just, and so I don't know. Tony, do you have any thoughts on this?
The way I digested the show, I think I mentioned, I was just watching bits and pieces. So I heard about that, but that was during that the co-op like Prison Break game, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
It was right before it.
So it's weird. I saw that clip and then I saw just the trailer without anybody talking over it. So I got like
because he wanted to keep talking and was like, are we gonna cut back to us talking after the trailer? And Keith is like, hell no.
No.
He was like, nah, we ain't got time for that, man. No, we're done. You're done, buddy.
We're done with you.
Well, and then like at that point, I'm waiting for Keely to start painting him with like a laser pointer for the sniper, like. But oh my god, that was crazy. So aside from fuck you guy, what like in terms of like personalities, people, even Keely himself, what stood out to you, Tony?
That's what I'm saying. I just consumed it in bits and chunks. So I was seeking out. I was just watching trailer after trailer after trailer. Sometimes I get a little before, sometimes a little after. A couple of the presentations. So I skipped over probably 90% of that.
Okay, well, good talk. So
I told you that beforehand.
I was happy to see Felicia Day, who always makes me happy when I see her. Like, and not even in like a pervy way, not even a pervy way. Just like I'm a big fan of hers.
I agree.
And then, oh god, there was somebody else. But the one that naturally for me jumped out was when they introduced Casey Hudson. I'm like, oh boy, here we go. We're going to see something awesome. And then he's like, I'm here to give an award. Good night.
Yeah.
And at that point, because like leading up to that, I'm like, oh, this is going to be EA's attempt to salvage Anthem. Because like I feel like Anthem was lukewarm received at E3, and then Battlefront 2 kind of torpedoed a lot of whatever positive energy around Anthem there was. Is just EA's savaged it. But the fact that they didn't show anything Anthem, I bet you anything they were planning on it, and completely backpedaled because of the negativity. And instead,
they had this PowerPoint ready of all the microtransactions involved
in Anthem,
and they're like, scratch it.
Well, and it's funny. I know you're being funny, but I really wonder if like there was something in their Anthem trailer or whatever that would have hit on the microtransaction bit that they're like, oh fuck, eject.
Yeah,
I don't even think it's anything with that. I think it's really just the whole lie low plan. I mean, it's Blaine.
But they sent fuck you guy there.
Well, you brought up Metacritic earlier, like the whole Original Sin 2 has such a high score. Have you seen like the torpedoed Battlefront 2 score, like the user score?
Oh, no one looks at user score.
No, what I'm saying though is that everybody is basically out to get them right now. So,
and with good reason.
I hate what they're doing with Star Wars because I love Star Wars, and I can't. It's not like I can go to any other company and get a Star Wars game, which pisses me off. But I really think they're just like, okay, they probably did have something planned, and they're like, it's better that we get out of the news completely, because if they're in the news, like all the random like CNN, Fox, whatever the hell that picked up on Battlefront 2, they're worried that they're going to pick up and be like, is the next game from EA, the makers of the gambling Star Wars game. Like that's the crap that we have in the way the news is presented to us in general. They're afraid of getting those types of headlines. Or like you were just saying, we were joking about it. Like they wouldn't have said jack about microtransactions. Guarantee that. They would never plan to say something about that, especially this early in the cycle.
Yeah, sure.
But people would speculate on it because that's what's on our minds right now.
Well, and like what kills me is that apparently Andrew Wilson's plan B, where he's like, he makes his phone call to Canada for the 1 hour a day you can, and he's like, hey Casey, you're still going to the Game Awards, but we're not going to show the Anthem trailer. Instead, we're going to send this French coke addict, and we're going to have him implode on stage and draw all the attention away from you. You're good.
What am I going there for? You're going to talk about an award.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Right, and again, like you don't fly Casey Hudson there unless you're going to show something, but which tells me this was like a last minute thing. I just
maybe they just swapped both of their meds.
Yeah.
So like,
yeah.
So Ernesto,
what's the name of that guy that used to be in that spy show? Mike, you really like that show?
Oh, Zach.
Fuck.
Zach Fuck. That's it. His name's Zach Fuck.
Zach Fuck. So when Zach Fuck
Zachary Levi, who, as you can tell, by the way, is getting a little bit bigger to play Shazam. You know what I'm saying?
Oh,
yeah,
really?
yeah, I saw that. I was telling my wife, whoa, he looks like he's been like hitting the weights, Yeah,
man. He's
like even he had the sweater on, and you could tell. But I really like his crack at the microtransactions. Like, oh, you gotta pay to open the envelope. That's so. It was fun. It was fun.
Yeah, and actually, he was on that show with the beautiful Yvonne Strahovski from Mass Effect 2.
And now that I remember, what happened to Alicia Tyler? She looks so bored to be there. Like, she's usually more enthusiastic. She was like, yeah, I'm here. Let's do this. Blah, blah, blah. I'm done. Bye.
I think she went to the after party a little early.
Is she still salty that she wasn't made to be the UB host?
But actually,
with her female owner and whatever.
I thought that was with Girlwood, right? I thought that was like a scheduling conflict or something like that. Like I don't know. That was weird. Like I thought it was a mistake on Ubi's part.
To me, the fact that she didn't host the Ubisoft was the best thing about the Ubisoft show.
What?
Like it made for a more personal, like really good show. I don't know. It's my opinion.
No. I see what you're saying. So it was less shocking and more like serious. Here's some cool games.
Yeah. And the fact that they were like more in tune with the audience that way. Yeah,
and actually, I will say, just side note, I do think that this year's Ubi presser at E3 was actually their best in a long time. Like the whole bit with the guy crying during the Mario Rabbids thing, where like he was like living out his dream. Even my cold dead fucking heart was like, oh my god. So, anyway, Mike, what about you?
I really didn't care about anyone. I will say one thing, and that is the girl who plays Senua in Hellblade. She's
the one that came on the stage with the tracksuit. What the hell?
Yeah, the one that came. I don't know, dude. I don't know, but I will say this. That's her mocap suit. But I will say this though, it was really cool that first of all, Hellblade is a game that deals with mental illness, and I have a personal issue with that, and I it's very dear to me. And I think it was really cool that this girl originally, she started off as she was just a video editor at Ninja Theory, and was doing testing stuff for mocap, different projects they were doing, and they just ran with it. And she was just like really overwhelmed. And I thought that was really cool. And that was basically the only moment in the entire show that I actually felt anything for. I was like, that's really cool. That's nice. It's one of those things in life that you don't see coming, and she just kind of went with it, and it brought her there. And I thought that was pretty cool.
second you're a programmer, the other second you're on stage with Andy fucking Serkis. How awesome is that?
Yeah, that was, and she was like, "Oh my god!" And then she was like geeking out. I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah, that was awesome. It was a beautiful moment.
Yeah, and her name's Melina Jurgens. And,
Yeah, Melina. Yeah.
And actually you can go back and watch like the years of production for Hellblade, and kind of see not just the game's evolution but hers too. Because I mean, like that's I don't remember. I'm terrible. I'm forgetting the name of the studio, but it's a very small team. And,
Ninja Theory.
Ninja Theory.
Ninja Theory. Thank you. I think it's like 30 people at their peak.
Yeah. I think that was awesome.
Actually, it's funny. There was a point last night where they had a guy from a small studio on, and they were like, "You're a 10-person studio," and he's like, "Oh, we're 8 now."
We're 8.
And I was like, and then like I was joking in the chat, like a minute later, I'm like, "Oh, they're down to 7." Yeah, that was weird. And also, actually, Mark has some good inside information here anyway about Aisha Tyler, that she was under the influence, and he doesn't mean drunk. So, and like again, like she hit the pre-part or the after party before.
Oh, yeah.
So
I
don't know. So in terms of just okay, so to wrap up the Game Awards, when 2018 Game Awards, aside from me being the trending gamer, what do you guys want to see different next year? Tony, we'll start with you unless you left. Tony? Tony! Okay, well, I guess something caught on fire or a child needed something. So I'll go. I want to see fewer categories. I want to see more time with nominees. Like, if you don't have the time to actually show a category properly, then don't just chop the category. Like I said, shit like trending gamer, esports player. Like I get the games for impact thing, but like if they're that impactful, put them into the game of the year category. And the reveals. And see, here's what's tough. Like I think Keeley's kind of hamstrung because, on one hand, I believe he wants to make a good show. And I think he knows what a good show is going to look like. But I think he has so many masters to answer to. Because, I mean, he's got Reggie there. He's got Hideo Kojima. I mean, he's got all the major players there. And he has to satisfy them all. And I bet part of the cost there is that he has to put on the show that he puts on. So anyway, regardless, in a perfect world, fewer categories, more time with the nominees, and fewer but better reveals. Like I want I want less is more across the board. What about you, Tony? What do you like? What in 2018 Game Awards? What do you want to see different?
I think what I was bringing up before, just about making the games and why they're being nominated more of the focus. Like that's what makes it more interesting to me. So if I could watch that and come away with a list of 5 games that I'm like, now I really want to play these because I understand why they were important and I hadn't looked at them before, or something like that, then that would make it to where I'm not just trying to watch the trailers the next day.
Okay. What about you, Ernesto? Jesus, did Ernesto leave now?
No,
there you are. Okay, no, you were holding so still that my Tyrannosaur vision didn't pick you up.
Couldn't see me. Okay. No, I'm gonna second what you said, Blaine. Less is more, right? Not so many awards, because what's the point of having like esports and all that stuff, but then you have awards like best RPG, and you're just gonna be like, oh, best RPG Persona, best this, that, best that, and now we're gonna focus on having this huge thing about an esports player that's totally like, so like less awards, but spend time with them, and like Tony said, like focus on informing why they are there, and I'm aware that you're not gonna have time to do that with every award, but at least with the Game of the Year award nominees, just say, oh, like a small summary or something with like Zelda with an open world and blah 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 blah. This is why it's here, and do that with every nominee. I don't know. It's just do less awards so you don't have this whole train of stuff. Try to do it all at once and then try to fit that into 3 hours.
Yeah, actually, Oh God, I thought of something while you were talking. I can't remember. All right, Mike, what about you?
I pretty much agree with a lot of things you guys touched on. I felt after a while I just started losing interest. It started going on too long. It's like that whole thing where I'm sure you've heard it. If everybody's special, then no one's special. Too many categories. Just you know, just come on. We don't need so many categories. Make it smaller. Make it impactful. An hour and a half. Let's wrap it up and let's go.
Yeah, actually, I remember what I was going to say now. So, like, yeah, the esports gamer. My favorite part of that was that he was like in some high school cafeteria when he was accepting the award, and like, he's talking, and then his translator's next to him, like nodding, and then translating, and I'm like craning my neck to like look behind him. I'm like, I'm like, where the
What's
fuck
the
is-"
special today?
Right? Yeah, exactly. I'm like, oh, macaroni salad. But yeah, I think we're agreed that like less is more, and Jeff Keighley, he's in such an impossible position, and I think the guy's done great things for the industry overall.
Mhm.
I like, and actually, Mike, I'm gonna take issue with you. I like his pandering interviews because he's without getting too graphic, fluffing Reggie Fils-Aimé, however the fuck you say it,
Whatever his
and
name
like,
is.
and like
Listen,
Reggie.
man.
Yeah, Reggie gives him exclusives. Like Cliffy B, same thing. Like they
You
give
think
him.
I only came here to talk about a port? Hell no, I
Right.
got some more shit here. Look.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, and I'll say this too about Reggie. And like I said this in the chat last night. If I ever get into another bar fight, I want fucking Reggie with me because like that dude. Every time I see him, I'm like, he looks like I could cuddle up and like like he give me a big hug, but at the same time he could snap my fucking head off too. Like
At the
that
same
dude-
time, like he could walk into a wrestling match and like intimidate everybody.
and, like seriously, like I half expect him to like rip his shirt open and have this like oiled chest and like he's ready to fucking throw down. So
You think I just came here for a port?
Oh,
Shit, ready
man.
now?
So all right, so that's it for the Game Awards. Do we want to do PSX first or Whatcha Playin first? What do we want to do?
Let's do what are you playing, because then the PSX would lead into the actual.
Okay, so Tony, what you playing?
So I brought this up in one of the posts, and it's actually been brought up on a couple of podcasts randomly. I don't know how big it is, but I on Twitch I saw this game pop up, that Doki Doki Literature Club thing.
Oh,
I'm playing that.
Yeah, so it's really just a visual novel, and it's one of those that there's spoilers all over the flipping place. I had not heard of it at all until a little over a week ago, and it's free on Steam.
what?
And it's with a DOKI Literature Club.
Like Doki Doki
Yes.
Panic?
Yeah.
Completely free. Apparently, that's like supposed to simulate the sound of a heart beating or something, like Doki Doki.
Doki is the heart thumping. Yeah.
Yeah.
Huh.
So if you look at it, it looks like a really weird, like Japanese dating sim, and that's like the shtick is that it's that with a twist. So it's hard to talk about, and I think that's why it makes it hard to sell, because if I'm really going to sell why I think it's amazing, you will be expecting that when you're playing, and that
Yeah.
goes wrong.
You can't spoil what it is, otherwise it ruins the magic.
So all I could say is anything that's free and will take at most, I'd say around 4 to 6 hours at the tops of your time. I would put that as probably like my number 3 this year that I played, purely on how much
Wow.
that impacted me. But that's because I think to certain people, if they've gone through certain things in their life, or they've known people that have gone through certain things in their life, coupled with the way that it uses the medium. So it really appealed to me on a couple of fronts. One was just striking a tone with people that I've known in my life. And the second part being the way that it interacted with me as the person playing the game was so far different than anything else that I've played. The thoughtfulness that went into how you can interact with the game itself, despite the primary interaction just being reading, to me was incredible. And that's where, like, as an experience, the same way that like if I'm just chilling for a movie, I'd rather watch The Rock than I would Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind. But I'd go and tell somebody, hey, you really need to watch Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind. I think it has something to say. That's the way I feel like with this game. And it's not the best sales pitch, but I think to the right type of gamer, it's going to be really high up there on their experiences in gaming, period, because it's so different than anything else. And in a worst case, you're just going to be like, oh, okay, I get it. Like, unfortunately, what I've seen there, I can say there is a twist. And what I've heard, unfortunately, on a couple of podcasts is there's like, yeah, it's just a twist and that's it. And I'm like, that is nothing compared to my experience playing it. And I don't think the twist has anything to do with it. Even if you've heard about a certain twist in there, I think it's still well worth playing because of what it's trying to say. And also, if you dabble in game design, in programming, the way that it interacts with the player, I think is fascinating from that aspect as well. So if you are in development or anything like that, I think playing it, if nothing else, will jog your creative juices.
So when you say visual novel, oh, I'm echoing somewhere. Stop it. Test.
If it helps, you're
All right.
not echoing to us.
Huh. Okay. So
Do
anyway,
you have the Twitch open with the audio?
no, again, this just started. I wasn't hearing this before. Like somebody has their speakers on and didn't before. So you know who you are. And just stopped. Okay, fantastic. When you say
Blaine,
visual novel,
so you get an idea. On the surface, it's a visual novel, like very anime heavy, the kind of cringy stuff that
well,
you are hoping
so-
that your wife won't walk into the room and see you playing it.
exactly, yeah, like because like I work with a couple of young what do you guys call them? Weeboos. There, I work with a couple of young weebs, and they play visual novels, or I guess plays the right way. I don't know anything about this. All I know is that it's like, 5 foot tall, big eyed girls with huge tits or no tits, and you're trying to fuck them. I don't know. Like, is this?
So I will say that it's when they have like there's a warning when you boot it up saying like if you have disturbing imagery and that type of stuff. I will say that none of it is of a sexual nature, so you don't.
Too bad.
Yeah, you don't have to worry about it going down that path. So
I'm not gonna play it now. Sorry, go ahead.
No, but on the surface, it's this kind of visual novel, but you gotta have to push through that beginning to know why it starts that way. I don't want to spoil it. I would love it if you just try it out.
Sure.
But it plays around with being more than a game, and it makes fun of what a game is and goes outside of it. It's something that you need to experience, and it's free. So I wish everybody would just try it, and then we kind of like book club style just discuss it afterwards.
And that's the thing. It's really weird. Is I almost just went to talk to somebody about it. Like it stuck with me for days, just because of the weird message that it had, and it wasn't at all what I was expecting to get out of it. Like
go ahead.
What was that?
No, it's like me with every single game I play. So I understand. Go ahead, keep going.
But yeah, and that's where it's just like something that is free and something that's shorter. I mean, Blaine, you used to play what was it, like Hotel Dusk?
Oh yeah, God, it was a great game.
Hotel Dusk, so good.
Yeah, it was such a good game.
But that was more of like you're reading more so than playing a game. And this, I would say, you're reading more so than you're playing a game.
Okay. Great. Are you unzipping your pants, Ernesto?
No, my bad. I'm playing with a case. I'm not unzipping my pants.
Okay, I was like, because your hand's down there, and I'm hearing this. I was like, man, he must really like that Doki game.
It wasn't a game with them. I mean,
Wow. I'm gonna
I'm
play it. I'll be
sorry.
right back.
I'm fidgeting.
Oh man. So all right. I talked about this a little bit in the social media stuff, but Metro Exodus inspired me to finally play through the Metro games, which I've had for years and liked for years. I never made them my main game for whatever reason. Like the way I play, I have like one main game, and then I'll have like some MMO stuff on the periphery, or like like Dawn of War 3. I'm playing like a mission a week because I don't love the game as much as I hoped I would, but it's still okay. But Metro 2033 Redux is what I've been playing. I started it today. I started it over today. And having played through or read the trilogy of novels now, it's interesting how those inform what I'm seeing, and see where they made different story choices. Like they simplify the story in the game to an extent, like relative to the book, which actually is good because there's a ton of exposition at the front of the book. The books are masterful in world building. It is among the best examples of world building I've ever seen, and it is such a distinct post-apocalyptic environment relative to everything else. Like there is nothing else out there that is like Metro in terms of post-apocalypse. It's so cool.
So wait, like when you say you hadn't made it your main game, so you never finished it, or it just?
No. It's funny. Like I actually played past today where I'd ever played before. Like I must have barely played the first game.
Okay, because I actually finished the first game and got about halfway into the second. So that's where I think you will find that you'll spend more time above ground than you expect by the end of the first game.
Shut up! God damn it, Tony.
Nice.
That's beside the point. Fake news. Anyway, world building. It's great. And actually, like I really like the pacing in the game so far. What's interesting is in the books, they're very slow paced, and like the narrative is totally meandering. Like it goes all over the place, and it's more or less like a vehicle that takes you through all the different stations. And the way that the politics in the world work is that it's the Moscow Metro, and each of the stations are people that were trapped there at the time when the bombs fell, and their descendants, right? And each of them have kind of started to develop their own government, and some of the stations cooperate with each other, some of them don't. Like there's like one that's devolved completely into Nazism. There's another one that is like hardcore communism. There's not really much democracy going on, and traversal between them can be very dangerous because there's like mutant creatures, all kinds of bad shit. That's the books, and that seems to be held up pretty well in the games. And actually, like what's cool is that the games, like when you read, you sort of imagine how things look. The game very much depicts how I imagine a lot of this would look. So I'm having a good time with that. I'll probably do some MMO stuff this weekend too, like SWOTOR or ESO or something. And we're going to watch Return of the Jedi this weekend, and then The Force Awakens on Wednesday, and then Last Jedi on Thursday. So, Ernesto.
So real quick, I started playing that Champion of the Ballads DLC for Zelda. Still don't understand what it is, because the first DLC was kind of like a trial survival mode kind of thing. And this one so far seems similar, but they just sent me to an area I had already been, and there hasn't been any story so far. It's basically a challenge mode, what I'm playing right now, where I have this weapon, anything, but you also get one hit kill. And that's all I'm doing right now. So I'm just clearing these areas, dungeons, go in, clear to move on. So they give you 4 to do, and I've done 2 so far. I don't know if after I'm done with those 4 dungeons, I'll actually get into the story, or if it's just going to be missions like that. But it's supposed to be a story-based mission DLC. We'll see how it goes.
That's the way the trailer, that's what I was curious about, because the first DLC didn't really appeal to me. And then this one, the trailer almost made it seem like those 4 things would each be themed. Like it's like now truly conquer the beasts or whatever it said. And then they showed like the cutscenes with all the 4 champions. But yeah, if it's just that's sort of disappointing to hear that. I haven't had time to look up the actual reactions to people who played it. So.
Yeah, I think there's gonna be more after you do those initial 4 dungeons because they haven't mentioned the champions at all. I'm just doing gameplay right now, and also because
Did it have
if
that
you look,
fork thing? Is that the one-hit kill weapon?
yes, that 4. So it takes your health down to 1/4 of a heart, and you can one-hit kill stuff, but you can only do it twice, and then you have to wait for it to recharge. So if you're stuck in a mob of enemies, you gotta hit 2. Run away, wait for it to recharge, and go in, and not get hit at all during the whole process. So it's a pain in the ass, but I'm enjoying the gameplay. But if it's gonna be that and no story, I'm gonna be really disappointed.
Hey guys, give me 1 second. I need to go put the smack down on some kids real quick. I'll be right back in 30 seconds.
Okay. But yeah, Tony, like, I don't know if that's gonna be the whole thing. So as soon as I get more info, I'll let you know.
All right, so Mike, what you been up to this week?
I've literally only been playing Xenoblade Chronicles 2
Me too.
on the Switch. It's a great game. I'm really enjoying it so far. One of the main characters in the game, their tits are fucking ridiculous, honestly, and I'm fine with that. I
didn't know what game we were talking about until you said that.
Yeah, and here's
Xenoblade, right?
Xenoblade, obviously, and it's just here's the thing. At first, I thought it was it's not bad, but there are cutscenes where it's just so weirdly out of place. I don't even know what to do with it, but I'm still enjoying the game a lot. The battle system takes some getting used to. It seems a little bit overly complicated at times. I'm still getting tutorials after 8 hours into the game.
There's so many tutorials. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, right. But I'm really enjoying it a lot. It's with the Switch because I'm very busy right now this time of year. I'm working retail. It's great where like literally during my break I can put in a good 30 minutes and it's just a great stress relief for me. I'm really enjoying the game. It reminds me a little bit of the Tales series for some reason. I don't know why.
Me too.
I'm hoping that with the success of this title that there's been rumors that they're going to bring the Xenosaga series that was on the PS2 and port that to the Switch. I would really be interested in playing through that again on the Switch simply because right now currently I'm not really playing much PS4 because I just don't have the time and the Switch is a great convenience for me.
So a thought and a question.
Mm-hmm.
The thought, do you really want to play back through the Xenosaga games from PS2?
Here's the thing though. Part of me does, and that could be it could be nostalgia speaking. It really could.
You don't finish games the first time.
But here's the thing though. I beat the first, and I got close to finishing the second.
Oh God, no, you don't.
But please, by the love of God, they need to add an ability to skip cutscenes because I just don't have that time anymore.
I also reverse. I have a DVD of the cutscenes that they gave me. I think when I pre-ordered one of them. But so
That's right. I remember that.
Yeah, Xenogears great. Xenosaga, and that's why actually I never gave any of these games a try. Now I own the one on the Wii U. I just never opened it because I'm just that person, I guess.
Oh, which X I heard was very different. It was more Phantasy Star Online, kind of, where you just built an avatar and you went on adventures. But this one is
actually very Phantasy Star Online meets Mass Effect Andromeda.
Oh, really? Okay, that's interesting. See, that's what I heard as well. But this is basically a continuation of the first Xenoblade. It's a very much a story-based game. I really like some of the characters so far. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, but I still remember some hilarious parts of those games, but that's what I've been playing. I'm really enjoying it.
So when I saw, I watched a little bit of it on Twitch. So when I saw it, what I thought of combat-wise for some reason was FF12. Is that
really?
You know what? It is very MMO like in it actually. That now that you say that, because there is basically you're swinging away, and every now and then you're using different, just different power moves while you let that recycle and build up again. And basically you're using that. So it is very much a lot like FF12. Now that you mention it, you're right.
Well,
That is
isn't it like
exactly why I'm enjoying it, because it's giving me that MMO fix without having to go into an actual MMO. You have your characters auto attack as soon as they see an enemy, and you have your abilities on cooldown. You use them. You gotta wait for them to recharge. Use them again. You gotta manage between a tank, a healer, and a DPS. It's the MMO gameplay, but in RPG form. That's what I'm enjoying about it.
how do you manage besides the character you're controlling? Is it like FF12 through AI routines, or is it more akin to like a KOTOR where you pause the action and you queue up commands?
Here's your party does their own thing for the most part, but you yourself, you basically just you use the 4 face buttons on the right joystick, and you basically switch that out in your settings on what power moves you want to use, and it just goes through that process. And there's a cooldown for each power move, and that's it.
Yeah, you don't control the other party mates.
Yeah, they do their own thing. Yeah.
I want to give a quick shout out real quick. Mark, who's hanging out in chat, which we really appreciate. He's playing Skyforce Reloaded, which he's brought it up so many times now. Like, I'm kind of curious to actually try it. Like, I think it's a mobile game.
They gave it away for free for PlayStation members, so download it.
Wait, oh, it's a PlayStation game.
No, it's an everywhere game, but they gave it away for free for PlayStation 4.
Oh, okay, cool. All right, continue, please. All right, good talk.
Xenoblade Chronicles, it's good. It's good. I'm enjoying it as well. So.
And that's on Switch. And actually, you know, it's so interesting. Like, the thing that makes me the most tempted to buy a Switch is my coworkers, like the other developers. Like, about half of them have a Switch and they bring it to work, and then at lunchtime, you know, they're over in their cubicle eating a Hot Pocket with their feet up on their desk and their Switch, like, doing whatever you do in Mario Odyssey, and they're having a fucking blast. Like,
when I'm working, I'm like looking forward to the lunch break and just chilling. I got my case with my Switch and my headphones, and I just put my headphones on. I'll chill in the back of a Subway or something and just have a good time with my Switch. It's an amazing console. I'm so happy I bought it.
Me too.
Now, you're in Chicago, Ernesto, so I got to ask, when you say Subway, you're in the back of a Subway, do you mean the actual restaurant? Or are you like, are you crawling into, like,
I just said the first, just said the first fast food place that came to mind.
Because, I mean, it's okay. Like, I don't want to judge you. I mean, like, there's some interesting shit back there. Like, that's where I used to go and vomit when we were, you know, doing bar crawls and shit.
Man.
Like, back
I
when
would not hang around the Subway back alley.
You know, there's a whole sub level to the city down there. Like, the house Tony and I lived in college, there was a door to nowhere, because like and I'm not kidding, the city's been built up a level because of flooding and fire, and
yes,
so there's a lot of old buildings that have a basement door that's concreted over, and
so wait, you're not talking about the one with the bar that looked like it was to keep Frankenstein's monster in, that the homeless people in sex on the other end?
That was the homeless entrance to our house. I'm talking about the one that actually went nowhere, that like went to underneath our back pad, or our, like, where I used to park. But you know what I'm talking about, right?
I think so. Oh yeah, because it was the stair. Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah. So, but anyway,
the Switch is great. That's my point.
And weird shit lives underneath Chicago. That too.
Yes.
Oh, I believe it.
That's also over Chicago.
2036.
Oh, yeah, Metro 2036 in Chicago. There you go. God, I would play the hell out of that game. You get to shoot Cubs fans. God, oh man. So
they're already kind of monsters.
Not that I'm advocating violence against Cubs fans. Like, they do enough of that to each other. So, all right, let's.
Last thing I want to say about the plane. So I got this promo it's actually from Hector from the group. He got this promotion from Sony where he could get to try PlayStation VR for 2 weeks for free. And then if he wants to keep it, he just pays $300 for it. It's a $450 bundle, but you can keep it for $300, or you can just send it back at no cost. But they don't ship to Puerto Rico. So so he gave it to me, and I actually have it here. I'm gonna try it out all week. I'm gonna try out Gran Turismo, Resident Evil 7. It comes with Skyrim VR. So I'm gonna try all those, and that's probably what I'm gonna be talking about next week.
Well, I'll tell you what. If you do plan to buy one, I will tell you to send it back because I can get you a better deal on that. I'm just saying.
Sweet. Inside man over here.
And now the whole internet knows. So everybody,
Oh shit!
contact Mike for
I
your.
don't know anything. I don't know what the hell. I know a guy. Stuff falls off a truck. You know what I'm saying?
Oh shit.
Yeah.
No,
so
I'm looking forward to trying it out. We'll see how it goes.
As long as you aren't trying to put it in the back room of a GameStop until they clearance it out for a penny, because you might be waiting a while.
Oh yeah, I know. You know all about that. Good man.
Actually, that's funny. You know, every single one of us has worked for that company at some point. That's interesting.
That's
hilarious. We should do a whole show just about video
GameStop
game
horror
retail.
stories?
Yeah.
That would be amazing.
That'd be awesome.
Like the what was it? The N64 extender cables, Tony. That
Yeah,
we
so-
exploited.
Yeah, that was to get a free PS2. So it was like you get an extra $3 on anything you trade in towards a PS2, and the extension cables bought with a discount were like $1.75.
Uh-huh.
Buy them and perpetually trade them in and make
How much
like
would you get for
$4 a pop.
Wow, that's
For-
great.
Yeah, and so you just do a couple a day for like several months, and then presto, free PlayStation 2 on launch day.
Nice.
Not that we know anyone who did that, but
Mhm.
oh man,
Is that a PS2
Yeah.
in the background over there playing?
yeah, about five of them. Yeah.
Yeah, strangely enough, we all got launch PS2s. I don't.
You know what's funny, dude? So like our DM yelled at me about that, where he was like, "How come all your day one?" Because like every store had like 200 pre-orders and like 8 units, right? And he's like, "How come your store is all employees on day one?" And I'm like, I don't know.
We got Sony fans here, man.
Yeah, and like it was to the point like he made me not get mine on launch day.
Oh.
Like he made me bump myself back. And
Yeah, that's why I had to come to your house the launch day. I drove
Right.
back from college.
And yeah, then we had the PS2 launch party at my apartment, and I remember retching my guts out while you were playing SSX, and because I was really wasted, and like the twirly shit in SSX just made me sick. And then, so like, Tony's doing tricks, and I'm like, he's like, "You okay?" I'm like, "I'm fine. Keep going. Leave me. Save yourself." But yeah, good times. So
I don't plan to keep the VR because I would rather use the 300 to go get an Xbox One X, but I do want to try it out.
well, the Xbox is where all the games are.
Well,
That's a joke.
no.
No, but
You know-
VR in general, that is interesting though, because like Mike had said though, I've seen the PSVR as low as I think 200.
Yeah,
Once
with
again-
GT Sport.
Yeah,
Ah,
Yeah.
Oh my God! Xbox just sent me a message. They're like, "Fuck
are
you!"
you talking shit about us, dude?
Yeah.
Right?
What the
We thought
fuck,
you were
bro?
You're one of our brand ambassadors. Oh God!
We're gonna send our enforcer your way, and then somebody rings your door, and it's Reggie Fils-Aimé.
No, you know what it is? No, it's
Come here, bitch.
no, it's EA fired the fuck you guy, and Microsoft hired him.
Oh,
He's at my door. He's like, "Fuck the Oscars and fuck you." Oh man, how do I do messages on this app? I have no idea. Oh, there it is.
I would
So,
know if I ever bothered to learn how to use any of those Xbox apps.
I got a Gears of War. Thanks for being a Gears of War fan and buying Forza. Yeah, I'm that guy. Here's a customized Gears of War themed racing suit to use in Forza.
Hmm.
Saying,
cool.
Yeah. Okay.
Thank you for buying our only 2 exclusives.
Wow.
Which is funny. Like
Fucking
those are
shots fired, man. What the fuck?
well, but you know what? But he's not wrong. Like those are the 2 Xbox games that I've bought for myself in the last couple of years. And I mean, I bought third-party stuff for the kids, but it's funny. They're like, you're one of our 5 best customers.
The Xbox mascots, Marcus Phoenix, Car.
No.
What about Master
Racing
Chief,
suit.
man?
It's a racing suit.
Oh,
So,
man.
And Mark says Ernesto has MS's number. Well done, sir. So, PSX is the keynote's in 27 minutes. So let's wrap this up in like 20 minutes. So, in terms, let's talk. Okay, so the keynote, I'm not. All right, actually, well, let me get something off my chest first, and then we can actually talk about nice things. And you guys have heard this from me too many times, so you can just go to sleep for a little bit. Andrew House has the worst voice of any presenter I've ever heard. He talks like this all the time, and it lasts like 2 hours. Except like throw in like a fucked up accent on top of that. And then there's
Jesus Christ, man.
PlayStation is the best.
Yeah, and then cut to the fidget midget. And so here, I'm gonna stand up a little bit. And so you got this guy that's 5 feet tall, and he's doing like this, like while he's talking the whole time. And and I'm like, Sony is doing everything better than everybody this generation, except their goddamn fucking presenters. They're awful.
I miss Daddy Trenton every year.
Yeah, but yeah,
Jack Tretton, man.
No, fuck Jack Tretton. He was horrible too. I hated him too.
I liked him. I thought he was.
I loved that.
He was adorable, man.
No, he was a shit stain. The only one that I've ever liked was Phil Harrison, dude. Phil Harrison could walk in a room and just command. Like when Phil Harrison walked in, I was like, wow, PlayStation Home sounds great. I mean, like if he can sell me that, he can sell me fucking anything.
It really wasn't.
And actually, you know what's funny? Tony, do you remember our adventures in PlayStation Home back in the day?
I remember the weird gestures just going up to people.
Yeah, well, like I would walk up behind random like other players, I guess you call them, and I would start doing the Running Man thing.
Yeah.
Where, like, where like so it looks like you're dry humping their ass, and it's just I would do that to people, then they like run off, and then I'd follow them and like dry hump them some more. That's how I play video games.
That was worth the 6 gigs of hard drive space.
God. Oh, on your was it 20 gig hard drive or whatever? No, it was 80 gig. Yes, the PlayStation 3 was
80 gig ones, but they made a 20 because there's the premium level. Remember, there's a $600 one and the $500 one. Yeah,
because you'll get a second job to be able to afford it. God, that's right. Good time. So on that note, PlayStation Experience, PSX, the keynote tonight. What are we expecting, if anything, Tony?
It's tough because I don't know how they're splitting. I don't with the cadence between this E3 and I mean, how many pressers do they have in a given year at this point? 3?
Right. They've got E3. They don't do Gamescom really. They don't have much of a presence at Gamescom. They had
one at the Paris Game
Show. Right, like they do Paris Game Show instead of Gamescom for whatever fucked up reason, and then they have TGS, Tokyo Game Show, and then this.
Yeah, so
and then nothing again until June.
So I don't know how they split everything up. I would say that most likely, if they don't want to double dip, you're not really going to see Spider-Man because that was a heavier one. I think at Paris, that was I think the longest one that they had.
What else are they going to show other than showing the open world actually instead of more cutscenes?
Yeah, so Spider-Man was already sort of taken care of, I would say. Maybe they were saving some God of War stuff, but I don't know what the cadence is going to be to reveal stuff from that.
Did you guys see the news about God of War accidentally showing the release date on the PlayStation Store?
No.
Somebody pulled the trigger earlier, and apparently it's like March 2018.
Oh.
Man.
Oh, you know what?
They fixed it, and now it says end of year 2018 or something like that.
Well, you know what? That's fiscal 2017. That's why they're doing that.
Yeah, makes sense.
That would be incredible if they're dropping a release date on it, but I don't know if it makes it. If it's as soon as March, that would be very surprising.
Well,
'Cause I-
yeah. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I don't think it would be done by then. You think it'll be?
Yeah, because they've showed a lot of gameplay, and it looks. I mean, granted, it's vertical slices, but it looks pretty done. I mean, you know, and
See, I don't
especially
know. I think it depends on how long a game it is, because what they've shown, because they're vertical slices, I could definitely see being polished as purely this is the demo, and I wouldn't even be surprised if that chunk is heavily modified or very different in the final game, or if it's only, let's say, a 6-hour game, I could see it being done. But the previous games, I want to say were closer to like 15 to 20 hours, so I could be meshing that in Uncharted.
no, because Uncharted is always way too long, and that's about 20 hours.
Yeah, so maybe
And you-
God of War has always been. I haven't played anything past God of War 3, which was now so many years ago.
I haven't played a God of War aside from the PSP one for about an hour.
I hadn't played any of them, and then I played all of them in a row, except for the last one, Ascension.
Yeah, I skipped
What?
the portable one, but I played through the main 1 through 3. And
I did. Good.
no, go ahead.
I did look up the titty scenes on YouTube. Because I was watching an X play, and like either Adam Sessler or Morgan Webb, one of them said something about like bare breasts, and I was like, tits in a game? And looked
I gotta research this
right, and then
for scientific purposes, of course.
yeah, and then there were actual polygonal boobs. Or Dante's Inferno, Tony. That was, I remember you showed me that when you're like, look, there's boobs, and I'm like, whoa.
I actually enjoy that game a lot.
Yeah, it's a good game. It's very God of War like, actually.
Yeah,
There's a direct ripoff.
I'm in
Okay,
the
well, there you go.
extreme minority, but I enjoy that game.
No, it was solid. So what else, Tony? Like anything else?
I don't know what else they show at this point. I mean, they really ticked off a few boxes with some of the games that they've released. I mean, does Square partner with them with anything for this show? I don't know. I mean, they've sort of hopped back and forth between Sony and Microsoft.
Well, you know what? No, because I'll tell you what. Like, Squeenix announced more content for 15 coming next year. This would be a perfect time to actually show what they're going to charge you for. No, for real. I mean, it's like they're going to do a second season pass, I think.
Yeah,
they are.
Oh, so maybe something like that. But aside from
They need to let Final Fantasy just be done.
No, release date for the PC version of Final Fantasy 15.
Okay.
at a PSX.
At PSX, yeah.
Oh shit. Never mind. Strike that. Delete that. Forget that. Oh my god. I've had too much due.
I mean, it's basically the same games from like E3 that really stood out, like the Detroit Become Human or something like that. Like I'd love to see
that game, dude. I want that game.
Mhm.
That
But
is
at the same time, I feel weird because that game benefits from me knowing less about it. So I almost just want to know, are they going to fuck it up? If not, I don't want to know anything about it. I just want to play it.
I'll tell you what, of any game that looks feature complete that Sony has shown, I think Detroit Become Human like is probably the most like finished looking. Whoa, Ernesto.
My bad.
Like you were going to inhale your computer. But yeah, Detroit Become Human, I definitely want to see. Last of Us 2, and see here, this is what I'm concerned about is like Sony's been showing the same 4 or 5 games all year. And you know, hopefully we're close on at least a couple of them. Otherwise, I don't know. And like if they don't throw some dates out tonight, I'm going to be disappointed. I'm going to say like 1 or 2 more things, and then I'll throw it to you guys, and then we'll wrap up in like 10 minutes or so. Tomorrow they have a whole bunch of panels. I don't know if you guys have looked at them. There's one in particular that I'm very excited about, which is the Uncharted cast reunion tomorrow night. Unfortunately, it's also at the same time as the Star Wars red carpet, so I'm going to have to like dual screen. So I'm kind of
I'm working tomorrow, so I'm gonna miss everything. I am. I'm gonna second what you guys said. Like, I don't know what to expect, but I don't think we'll see anything because kind of Sony has downplayed what this presser is gonna be like. They were like, oh yeah, the main surprises were E3 and Paris Games Week. Don't expect anything here, and that's why they're not really calling it a press conference. It's like a keynote with like not that much of promotion, and I think they're not gonna show anything significant. Or maybe they're downplaying it because for Paris Games Week, they were like, oh, get ready for this. Like, this is going to be wild. And it wasn't like anything new.
E3
So people
2.
were like, yeah, exactly. So we'll see. I'm not really expecting anything, but I do hope that we have an enjoyable keynote.
So do you think that one thing I just thought of, do you think they make that PS4 price drop permanent?
Yeah.
Yeah, they just dropped for the weekend of the PSX conference. They dropped the Pro to 350, and they Mike, what's the new price for the Slim?
It was $199, and during Black Friday week, it was
Okay.
$150 with a $50. Yeah, $199 with a $50 gift card.
Okay, so there you go. It would be cool if they make it permanent.
Well, and one thing that's different about this generation is that like the selling is it used to be a rule that you would sell your console at a loss and then make up for it with the software, and that seems to be less prevalent now. But I mean, Sony could be because like they've been a little dry since Horizon Zero Dawn in terms of big exclusive releases. I mean, I guess they had Gran Turismo, which I don't know, some of you people liked, but see, now you distracted me. All right, Ernesto, go ahead.
No. I'm one of the ones that like Gran Turismo. I was just saying.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I don't know. Anyway, but like their strategy could be that because the Xbox One X as hardware has been pretty well reviewed. Unfortunately, there's no big release to go with it. It's nice that I can play my 360 and Xbox One games at higher resolution and they look a little better, or some of them look a lot better. But Sony needs to undercut Microsoft in terms of the hardware sales. But both Microsoft and Sony need new exclusive games. And what we say, Data War is going to come out in March. I think Detroit Human, I bet you that they say it's going to be February.
That'd be great because I'm looking forward to that game.
So Mike, what about you? What are you looking forward to?
From PSX, honestly, I just want to hear I've been hearing rumors for forever about a Devil May Cry 5. I just want it to fucking happen at this point. Devil May Cry is one of my favorite franchises of all time. I want to see that. Hopefully, I was intrigued by the teaser that From Software had at the Video Game Awards. Hopefully,
we didn't even talk about that.
Hopefully, that will produce Bloodborne 2.
Wait, I totally missed that. What was that?
There was a teaser from Software at the Game Awards at the pre-show. It was in the last 5 minutes.
That's why I missed it.
It was like 5 seconds long.
It was like 5 seconds. It was like, here. That's it.
Prepare to die again or something weird.
No,
it said
the
Shadows dies twice. Shadows die twice. It said, and it was in the Bloodborne font. And I was like, interesting. All right, so that and obviously God of War. I'm a big God of War fan. I love the franchise, and with this being Norse mythology, I'm much more excited for it because I love Norse mythology. But besides that, that's it. I'm not expecting any big surprises. I know that there's a solid lineup next year. What I want to know is, do they have anything for 2019, or have they just blown their load already? And
So
The Last of Us,
You mentioned Devil May Cry. So what difficulty do you hope they take with 5 if it's announced?
I want it to be just as difficult as the other ones, where it's accessible if you want to play it on an easy mode. But if you want to play as Dante Must Die, then go for it.
But that all right. So and maybe I just have a weird view of it. So I viewed 1 as incredibly hard, 2 as way too easy, 3 back to incredibly hard, 4 was a little bit toned down, and the remake I thought was middle of the road.
There was a remake?
DMC was its own thing that was developed by Ninja Theory, and it was, especially when it originally came out, it had a lot of issues. The remaster of it that came out on these consoles was much better.
It's so silky smooth, man.
It's but not just that. One of the things that I hated about DMC was there were enemies that were color coded. They could only hit them with certain weapons, and that really made Devil May Cry is known for being able to mix it up with different weapons and play the way you want to get to a triple S rating. And that just it would make the combat slow down. They finally got rid of that in the HD remake. But Devil May Cry 2 was just it was terrible. It was a shit game. Everybody knows that. Everybody's that played Devil May Cry.
I remember your heartbreak when you bought it, dude.
Yeah, it was a piece of shit. It was, but I'm hoping that they still go with Devil May Cry 4. Apparently, the rumor is that Nero, Virgil, and Dante are both going to be in this. There's going to be 3 or maybe 4 playable characters, maybe Trish as well, and that it's going to be a much bigger world, and that Sony is paying a good deal of the production costs, just like they did with Street Fighter. And I can understand that because Capcom, I mean, they've been struggling this generation. They've just been basically most of the time just producing ports of old games.
Right.
And but if they can do that, if they can manage to do what they did with 3 and 4, but make it accessible for some people, if you just want to play an action adventure game and not have to, be like, oh, fuck this game, but give you the ability to play in hard mode and challenge yourself as well. That's all I want.
So is DMC5 confirmed yet, or is it just strongly suspected?
It's strongly suspected. It's been leaked.
It's all but confirmed.
Yeah, it's all but confirmed at this point.
So I'll tell you what, though, Sony needs to just go ahead and buy Capcom. I mean,
they should. They probably can afford it.
Well, but like for real, I think
Nintendo will if they don't. I'll tell you that.
Well, but I think Sony already subsidizes a lot of Capcom's development.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah, that's the same reason we don't have the damn VR mode for Resident Evil 7 PC.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. And Jay says, they've lost me on that franchise. Does anyone know what's happening in the story? Mike, you're the DMC expert. What's happening
in the story?
Yeah, DMC4. Which DMC4? DMC4 set it up that basically Virgil is somehow coming back and that he's Nero's son. Nero is his son. The new character that they introduced in Devil May Cry 4 is Virgil's son.
Spoilers.
Yeah. Okay. Come on, if you haven't played it now,
it's so funny. Okay, quick side note, because I'm going to call out Ernesto and fucking Alex on this one. Now, hold on. And Alex, I don't mean Alex that's in the chat, who's a buddy of mine from work, but Alex Cortez. Oh, sorry, I added your name. This year was it? I said something like, okay, KOTOR spoilers. You've had 15 fucking years to play this game. And fucking Ernesto and Alex jumped all over my nuts because I was like, oh, you're revving. And then Ernesto's like, oh my God, why even play the game at this point? And I'm like, I don't know. You've had 15 fucking years, dude.
I'm slowly working on retro games, man. You got to give me a chance.
And by the way, Eris dies.
Yeah, right?
Oh, no!
Come on, man. He all the ports to iPad and everything, he's waiting for that Switch port. Just get it.
All right. So let's wrap this up now. Do we hear anything about Final Fantasy in this press conference? Or is it just Sony plus Capcom? I mean,
it seems to be all of it right now.
Final Fantasy 16 confirmed.
Yeah, right. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if they announced some new content for Final Fantasy 15 because they want to keep putting more stuff in that game.
I would love to see anything Final Fantasy 7, but given that it's in the hands of that damn guy who should stay as an artist and not actually do directing,
And actually, no.
You know that you remind me of that, Ernie. I would love to see something on Kingdom Hearts 3, but it's probably not going to happen.
Yeah, because it's the same dude.
But actually, but I really wouldn't be surprised to see that second season pass for FF15 announced. And actually, Alex, that's in chat, like my buddy from work, was defending Nomura to me the other day, and we almost had a cubicle throwdown I was like, fuck Nomura, and then he was like, oh, he's great. Oh, Mark says more Soul Calibur 6 footage. That would be interesting.
That would be
Actual
nice.
game. Did we see gameplay last night? I can't remember.
Yes, we did.
Yes.
Okay. As I was getting all confused, I'm like, I was like, oh, this is Soul Edge. No, wait, Soul Blade. No, and then somebody corrected me like Soul Calibur. I'm like, oh, that's right.
It's all the same damn thing, more or
You
less.
know, as Blaine refers to it, the Taki ring out.
Ring out. Ring out. Oh, God. There we
Ring
go.
out.
And Carlos is here now. He says, hey, guys. Jay says, how about a Jack reboot? What is Jack? Oh, Jack and
Jack and Daxter?
Yeah.
Is that
I don't
why
really-
they did that bundle?
I could see them handing that IP off to another external studio.
Sure. You know what I would love to see now that I remember? I would love to see them do what they did with Crash, that trilogy remaster, but do it with the original 3 Spyro games. I would love that.
That would be cool.
Sony PS1 had all these like name games. I can't keep any of them straight.
Spyro was the purple dragon.
I know Spyro. Yeah, but there's Jack and Daxter, and there was
Crash Bandicoot.
Ratchet and Clank.
Ratchet and Clank. That was there was that, and I think there was a third one too. I don't know.
Cheech and Chong.
Blasto? No.
Oh my
You guys
God.
remember Blasto?
Oh
That
yeah, I remember
Blasto was
Blasto.
awesome. How about Jersey Devil? That
Jersey
was cool
Devil,
too.
man. Jersey fucking Devil.
Oh, good stuff, man.
Parappa the Rapper. I mean, shit, they had so many.
Oh. All right. So in chat, we got Jay saying Legend of Dragoon 2, so he's the American that liked that game.
Oh,
My man.
Sly 5, Carlos says Toshinden Remastered.
Rotisserie chicken?
To Shinden, wow. Battle Arena to Shinden? That's a blast from the past.
And then Jay says Ratchet, Jack, and Sly. Okay.
Man, I would love Legend of Dragoon too. Oh man, I would love to play that.
That was the most derivative fucking game I think of that entire generation.
Man, I love that game.
What about
I
a new Wild Arms? How about that? A new Wild Arms?
Wild
I thought
Arms
there was
was
a new
great
Wild
for the
Or a
first
new
one.
Dark Cloud?
So, Legend of Dragoon was significant for one reason, and that was that they ran a promotion where you could trade in any
that's right.
PS1 games and get Legend of Dragoon
For
at
like
KB
$5.
Toys.
Oh,
So, or no, it was at Babbage's. So
Okay.
imagine this:
Yeah.
the cheapest PS1 game at the time was Kalik: The DNA Imperative. Used it was
oh my
$11.99.
god, you remember this like perfectly.
So
Oh,
used that game was $11.99. So plus our discount ran like $9. That was when Sony sold their first party games for $39.99.
Yeah.
So what you do at KB, they'd sell it for $44.99. So you get 3 copies of Kalik, buy them for I think it was like $27. Get your unopened copy of Legend of Dragoon, take it up to KB Toys, get $48 in cash, and walk on back down.
Nice.
Man, that is dirty shit, dude. I love
No,
it.
you know what though? Like when Tony and I were at Babbage's together, he had some fucking scam going every day. And then he would explain it to the rest of the store, and then
He's like Santa Galifianakis looking at the
oh my God. All right.
equations and shit.
We gotta wrap this up. We're like minutes away from the keynote. So I'm gonna kill it now. Thank you everybody for tuning in. I'm gonna upload
Quick
this-
question.
Yeah.
Are we gonna co-stream the PSX
No.
or are we just hosting?
Where's hosting?
Okay, is the chat remaining open?
Yeah. I guess we haven't decided. Yeah. We'll leave chat room open. We'll chat wherever. I don't care. But I do need to stop the stream so that we can go ahead and start
Yeah.
hosting.
How about
Thank
I'll
you.
shut up.
Thank you, chat, for tuning in. We really appreciate it. You guys are a blast. And I love that you jumped in during the PSX stuff because we got a long list of games. Mark says Tenchu, by the way. It'll never happen.
Oh, yeah.
Tenchu, yes.
And panelists, thank you so much for hanging out, making the time on a Friday night. And with that, we are done. And thank you all so much. And I hope you like the side of my head again. Good night.